So how should India react? How do we navigate the shifting tides of power and security in an uncertain world? From grand strategy to military technology, from power and conflict to the unseen forces shaping our world, and from battlefields to the halls of power, we decode the past, analyze the present, and anticipate the future of global security. I am Sandeep Unnithan, and this is the National Security Agenda. 2025 is the biggest year for India's indigenous defense industry. The Defense Ministry has placed orders worth over 90,000 crore rupees on Indian industry. Over the last 4 months, orders have been placed for artillery guns, helicopter gunships, anti-tank missiles, and rocket ammunition. All of these orders have been placed on Indian industry. Let's take a look at these deals. 307 ATAGS, towed artillery gun systems worth 7,000 crore rupees. 156 Prachand light combat helicopters worth over 62,000 crore rupees. Nag missile systems worth over 1,800 crore rupees. 100 K9 Vajra gun systems worth over 7,600 crore rupees. And finally, high explosive pre-fragmented rocket ammunition for the Pinaka rocket system worth over 10,000 crore rupees. Is Atmanirbhar Bharat now on full steam ahead? Joining me now on the NSA are Rahul Chaudhary and Saurav. Gentlemen, welcome to the NSA. Saurav, it's been 5 years since the government rebooted its Make in India defense plan, and Atmanirbhar Bharat now seems to have clear targets. Decode for us what we are seeing now with this rash of orders placed on Indian industry. Is this now going to be the default setting when it comes to defense orders?
One would think in certain categories, certain very important categories, absolutely yes. I think it will be the default setting because Indian industry has crossed the threshold in terms of systems and platforms. Not so much in terms of airborne platforms or anything, but certainly in terms of things like howitzers, and of course also a whole bunch of missiles and munitions, which the Indian private sector has sort of developed in tow with DRDO. Because today today DRDO, the DPSUs and the old OFB, disaggregated DPSUs, they can all sort of leverage private sector capability through something called DCPP, Development Cum Production Partner Mode. Right. And once the development is completed and once the thing has passed trials, etc., the orders are of course placed under the by IDDM category of the Defense Acquisition Procedure. So what you're seeing today is that across a gamut of things such as howitzers, missiles and munitions, right, small drones, right, even sensors, even ground-based sensors. Of course, many of the components of this, some of the key components may still be imported as far as sensor technology is concerned. Although that too will change. You're going to see this. This is no longer just a trend. This is now the standard, essentially.
Right. This is no longer just a trend, but the standard, the default setting when it comes to defense orders, that Indian industry is going to be the first choice when it comes to defense orders, especially for the land systems. Rahul Chaudhary, this is something you fought for decades when you were at Tata Power SED. Tell us how significant this rash of orders are, 90,000 crore plus. And of course, there are many other categories we even included for example, vehicles, four-wheelers, jeeps, all of those, all again being placed on private industry. Has the Indian defense industry finally come of age, Rahul Chaudhary?
Indian defense industry has come of age, and Modi government's vote of confidence with money is the best example of saying that has happened. The best part of this is that despite brochure specifications and there has been a basic trend that Indian industry has to be accommodated because substantive self-reliance means indigenous capabilities on ground. Right. And I think the political message has started to percolate down the military complex, and we are now seeing certain results which probably started with a Goa chief minister moving to Delhi as the defense minister, and then
Of course.
groundwork being laid.
It's a process that began a decade ago with Manohar Parrikar moving to Delhi, as Rahul Chaudhary mentioned. But Saurav Jha, the other big criticism on Indian industry, certainly the private sector, is that there's a lot of emphasis on orders. They always ask for orders, but the criticism is that they don't invest enough in R&D. Explain for us if that is still the case and what the private industry and indeed the DPSUs need to do to focus more on defense R&D, because that's where your future products are going to come from.
Absolutely, that's the most pertinent point. Isn't the Indian private sector doing enough on defense R&D at the moment? No, it isn't. I would say that categorically. It needs to do much more. But why isn't it doing more? Well, there could be reasons why it isn't doing more, and that could be incentivized. There's this talk of allowing a certain part of the CSR funds to be used for R&D. That quantum could be increased greatly, and that could be monitored from a certain level in the government as well, as to how that is being utilized. The other thing is that, see, the Indian military, the defense orders in general are lumpy, right? They happen once in a while, and when they do happen, the quantum might be significant. But the gestation period between the development of a system, or even if a system is developed, the time taken between the time when the case is moved and the time when the actual order comes through is considerable in the Indian system. So India's procurement cycle obviously needs to be improved. That's par for the course. I mean, that's obvious. So the thing is that the private sector will also have to be given another signal. One signal, as Mr. Chaudhary mentioned, has already been given, and that is because of a confluence of a couple of factors, where we've seen what is happening at the geopolitical level, and also the fact that Indian industry has come of age in various in various sectors across various technologies as well in terms of manufacturing. So the other signal that needs to be sent is to Indian industry, if you want to get them to move on R&D, is that R&D will be incentivized. There will be proper co-sharing of IP, and you have to start disincentivizing the tendency to just partner with some foreign collaborative, with some foreign OEM and push something in. Right now, if you look at the defense acquisition procedure, there are a whole bunch. There under the make categories. There's make 1, make 2, make 3.
Yes.
Make 1 is the only one where the government actually funds prototype development up to a quantum of 250 crores. In Make 3, the design and development is not a requirement at all. It's there's just an indigenous content level development. And most of the projects under Make are under Make 2 at the moment, which has design and development and an IC indigenous content level criteria as well.
Very, very important points there, Saurav. I'm going to ask Rahul Chaudhary this. Rahul, you just heard what Saurav mentioned, the fact that you have these 3 categories, Make 1, Make 2, Make 3. Of course, you've been part of several committees that have recommended all of this. How do you incentivize more spending on defense R&D? How do you re-energize Make 1, which is the most critical part? This is the IDDM defense products.
The critical part is it has to be a Team India effort. It cannot be, and when I'm saying Team India, it has to be the user, the industry. Yes, now industry has been given certain level of incentives by getting these orders through. You get certain level of money which you can pour back into R&D. Till now, that was not the case. In fact, Indian defense industry had to find its own money. And let me give you one statistics. The defense technology requires the best engineer to be put in place for that kind of capability to be developed. Given the outsourcing success story of India, that is $150,000 a year engineer. When till very recently, that guy, the kind of money the company was getting was also tax-free on the profits which were getting generated by providing the services abroad. So if you were wanting to do Indian defense R&D, you needed to be an idiot like me who was prepared to fight the battle for developing capabilities which in long run would work together. And again, take the example, industry has to lead. You cannot have an R&D separately. The best example of that is the Tejas and the Prachand,
Yes.
where HAL is leading in the development. You are seeing a far better indigenous product coming on ground. When you are breaking the R&D part from the making part from the manufacturer, that doesn't work. It doesn't work anywhere in the world.
Right. These the design facility is located in one ministry. The user, of course, is in the second, and you have a production kind of thing which is in the third. That's one of the big problems of Make in India. But Saurav, what are the other big challenges of Atmanirbhar Bharat that you see apart from this thing of indigenizing, re-energizing Make One, and of course, bringing in more defense R&D? What are the other big challenges you think? Aerial platforms, of course, is a very, very big issue. We don't have our own aerial platforms. We don't have our own engines. What other big problems do you foresee in the next couple of years?
So that's as you've clearly outlined, that's the biggest problem, right? That's our Achilles heel, the engine. The engine is our Achilles heel, and that is what needs to be addressed on a war footing. Right. When I mean war footing, I am talking about a project like the Manhattan Project, an equivalent of the Manhattan Project. Because without that, we are going to be relegated to the second tier for certain, right? So we have to move ahead on that. The other challenge is that we have to have a builder's military. Right. So as Mr. Chaudhary said, the ideal situation would be that the design house and the production agency are one and the same, right? That is not the case in India. So we have these workarounds. The development cum production partner is a workaround where DRDO and industry work closely together from the prototyping stage. That's a workaround. Another workaround for strategic systems, we've allowed DRDO to become the production agency also in some sense. That is another workaround, right? So you have these workarounds, but you have to have a military which is a builder's military. The Navy to an extent is that. It's not as if the Navy is completely that either, though it has experienced great success across platforms. But the other two services have to also reorient themselves. Right. See, in the major militaries of the world, people who have actively worked in R&D in their own, say in the Air Force Research Laboratory, or have worked in acquisition programs, domestic acquisition programs, they tend to be seen favorably for promotions and stuff. It's not as if only people from line the units go up the chain, right? So there has to be the way the military also functions and looks at these issues needs to be remolded, in my view.
Absolutely.
And the
we
whole
need
of
a
a
builder's
nation's
military. Important
approaches,
point there, Saurav Jha. We need a builder's military. The government is doing its bit by placing all these big orders. It's got a clear vision for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Industries, of course, stepping in. We need the military to join in with by becoming a builder's military. Thank you very much, Rahul Chaudhary and Saurav Jha, for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
While on the topic of indigenous weapon systems, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the premises of Solar Industries in Nagpur on Sunday. It's yesterday. Now, Solar is one of the world's largest makers of commercial explosives. They've also entered the defense business lately with production orders for the multi-mode hand grenades, rockets, and now loitering munitions or drones carrying weapons and explosives. Joining me now is Satyanarayan Nandlal Nuwal, the Chairman and Managing Director of Solar Industries. Nuwal ji, welcome to National Security Agenda.
Thank you, sir. Dhanyavad.
Nuwal ji, what did Prime Minister Modi tell you when he visited your facility yesterday? He seemed to be very impressed. He spent a long time. He even inaugurated a private test range for UAVs and loitering munitions. वो आपसे क्या कह रहे थे?
First of all, we have proposed for two inauguration. So first they have inaugurated loitering munition testing range, because whatever we have already started to this production for this loitering munition, we have already started. But whatever we have faced in our this last 2 years, or any system, if we want to design, develop, testing, it's required the certain this facility. So if for the flying or lethality test or other many tests, it is very difficult to get the range from other side, like this Pokhran or this Ahmednagar or this anywhere. So it takes the so much time. So we decided to set up the facility in house. So first facility we have set up for the loitering munition testing facility.
Right. So, that's very interesting. You've set up a test facility without waiting for using the Defense Ministry's test facilities. But, in January this year, you also inaugurated a drone making facility. Big question is, Solar is one of the world's largest explosives makers. How did you enter this era, this segment of making drones, all kinds of drones that you're making? There's one called the Nagastra that's been ordered by the military. Why is Solar so keen on making explosive drones?
Because because we are in the explosive business, and there are crises for this ammunition, so we decided to go for this ammunition also. So as regard this, as you are telling about this UAV, most of the person they are manufacturing this for this transport, surveillance, agriculture, for the civilian use, or army also they are manufacturing the for surveillance and transport. But as regard the weaponized drone, I think it was the big gap. And when this particular war from this Azerbaijan and this Armenia, this total war pattern have been changed, because there are so many tanks, so many other facilities they have, but they have mostly they use the loitering munition, right, and it's in the total game. So we decided that it will be the future of the war pattern, and it is very important for our country.
Absolutely. Now the Nagorno-Karabakh and of course Armenia, Azerbaijan, and now you have Russia, Ukraine, where drones are all pervasive. They've changed the face of war, and that of course explains why Solar has made this foray into drones. But Nuwalji, Nagpur is known as the Orange City. You're based there, all your factories are there. Now your test facilities as well. Do you plan to make Nagpur now as the defense city of India? What's the kind of infrastructure that Solar Industries has in future? What are the plans that you have for making Nagpur into this hub for defense industry?
Sir, as you are aware that my birthplace in Rajasthan at Bhilwara, but I started my career from this very small Chandrapur district. So, and very small this beginning, and somehow when I become and we establish as the largest manufacturer in the explosive, then I decided for this ammunition, and after this last 3-4 years, this circumstances, it is my dream that Nagpur definitely is the as a orange. It is this is the orange, famous for the orange, but particular for the weaponized drone and UAS, whatever is the small, or we have already proposed the male UAV also. So it is my dream that Nagpur will be within 2-3 years, it will be the weaponized UAV hub.
Absolutely. Nagpur, from Orange City to the weaponized drone hub of India. That was Satyanarayan Nandlal Nuwal, the founder, chairman of Solar Industries. Thank you very much, Mr. Nuwal, for joining us, giving us your vision to turn Nagpur into a hub for Atmanirbhar Bharat. A massive earthquake devastated Myanmar and Thailand on Saturday, killing over 1,600 people. India launched Operation Brahma as soon as news of the natural disaster broke. The Indian Army, Indian Navy and Indian Air Force were activated and moved into Myanmar with alacrity. IAF aircraft flew in relief supplies, personnel and food to Myanmar. The Indian Navy sailed 4 warships carrying relief materials to Myanmar's port Yangon. Over 100 Indian Army personnel from the Para Brigade have flown in to establish a 60-bed field hospital in Mandalay to respond to the injured. And none of this is any surprise, really. Natural disasters are unexpected, of course, but one thing you can always expect is a helping hand from India. Whether it is military coups, fires, floods, natural disasters or earthquakes, India and its military will always be there for its neighbors, always and every time. That's all for tonight. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time with more insights and analysis on the national security agenda.